Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about crazy ways that you can end up in jail that most people have no clue about, and that's how you'll end up there is if you have no clue. So let me share some things that I've learned and some things that I've been through. So one thing is, if you're in the car with someone, whether you're driving your car or you're in the car and it's someone else's car, if anyone in that car, it could be you and one other person, you and three other people, it doesn't matter. If someone in the car has something illegal, the police will take all of you to jail. That's just what they do now, and they let the judge figure out who's who's innocent, who's guilty. And yes, even if you say, oh, it's mine, it doesn't make a difference. They'll still take everybody. I've been through that exact thing before, and I still went to jail. Now, of course, the things I'm telling you are going to be different in different states, different cities, and sometimes different officers will handle things differently too. If you catch a cop on a bad day, let's say he's just in a bad mood or whatever's going on in his life, and you're having a bad day and you get an attitude with him, or you cuss at him, or you accidentally, like, let's say you have a drink in your hand and you accidentally spill your drink, or just something random happens, but it wasn't like aggressive, but it was kind of with an attitude, they can take you to jail. They could hit you with disorderly conduct, or, I mean, there's so many charges they could charge you with. Same thing if you're out in public and you and the cashier or the server, bartender, anybody gets in an argument, you can go to jail for that too, especially if you get in like a physical altercation. But it doesn't always have to be physical. It can just be verbal. If somebody feels threatened, or somebody could simply say that you threatened their life, and they will take you to jail for that. If you send someone a text message or an email or leave a comment on someone's page threatening them, that is illegal and you can go to jail for that. Or if you're on, let's say you're leaving comments and emails and whatever, harassing a creator or harassing anybody, really, text messages, anything, that is illegal also. To continue to bother someone, whether they respond or not, it's still harassment. It's unwanted, and that person that you're doing that to can press charges against you. Speeding is illegal, even though people think, you know, hey, it's just speeding. It is illegal, and the faster you're going, the worse it's going to be on your record, points off your license, and you can even do jail time over it. Drinking and driving, we all know, is illegal, but did you know one drink is over the limit for most? So the alcohol, the limit used to be like 0.10, but now it's 0.08, which is one drink is over the limit. I mean, of course, it depends on your body size, but for the average person, one drink is technically over the limit. So if you get pulled over after one drink and the officer smells any kind of alcohol or just wants to be a jerk and breathalyze you, whatever, you will fail the breathalyzer and you will get a DUI. Whether you're drunk or not, it doesn't matter. And also, DUI isn't just alcohol. DUI is anything under the influence. So you could take an allergy medicine and drive home, and if you swerve just a little bit, they can get you with a DUI. It doesn't matter what it is. There's just so many different ways to go to jail, and people don't know. One thing that I see a lot of people doing, and it's on social media and they're recording it, is especially like moms, and no hate to them, but I'm telling you guys this because you don't want to go to jail or get a theft charge for doing this and not knowing, because they don't care if you don't know the laws. We are not taught the laws for a reason. So I'm telling you this so hopefully will help some of you be more aware, because you just never know. So it depends on the store. It depends on the city, the state, the county, all that. Everybody's laws are different depending on where you live. But if you're in a store and you open up food or drink and consume it before you pay for it, that is theft. So like I said, some places don't say anything, but some places do. You can get a theft charge. They can take you to jail for that. So feeding your kids a snack to keep them quiet before you go pay is theft. And if you really think about it, I don't know why anyone would think that would be okay anyway, because you can't go into a store and open up all the makeup products and do a full face of makeup and tell them you're just going to pay for it in a minute. You want to do your makeup first. They're not going to let you do that. So I don't know why people would do that with food. Same thing with clothes. You're not going to change your whole outfit, put the clothes you had on in your hand and walk around with a brand new outfit on that you got in the store and say, oh, well, I'm about to pay for it. You just wouldn't do that. I don't know anybody that does that. There's nothing that you should be opening or tasting or using before you pay for it, because it's not yours. You don't own it. You didn't pay for it. So therefore, it's still the business's. So yes, they can charge you with theft. Here's another random scenario. Let's say you get in a car wreck. Whether it's your fault or not, somebody unalives, they're taking you to jail. They are going to have to investigate to make sure it wasn't your fault, you weren't under the influence, all that stuff. But that's just how it is. And that could be a random car accident that, I mean, nobody plans those, but that can happen. Let's say you go to get your tires fixed and you're driving down the road and your tire flies off and you wreck your car into a house. You could go to jail for that. I mean, in like reckless driving or whatever they want to charge you with. If you have a child in the car with you, you're going to get endangerment to a child. If you do anything in front of a child, you could get so many different charges. So many. Even if you're like arguing with your loved one in front of a child, you can catch a charge for that. There are just so many things that people do on a daily basis that is illegal and they just have no clue. They're too busy stereotyping and judging people that they consider criminals, not realizing what they do is the same thing. And you can't say, well, this crime's bad, because when you go to jail, everybody gets treated the same. It doesn't matter if you unalive someone or if you have an addiction problem or mental health. It doesn't matter. Everybody gets treated the same. Another random way, let's say, you know how they have those cameras now at the red lights? Let's say you're driving down the road and you think, okay, it's turning yellow. I'm gonna go for it. The light turns red. Takes a picture. Let's say you don't have the right address on file, or they just don't send you the ticket in the mail like they're supposed to for whatever reason. Because they'll say they did. You have a ticket and then you have court or whatever. You miss court, you miss the ticket because it never got to you one way or another. You're going to have a warrant for your arrest. So the next time you get pulled over, you're going to go to jail. And let's say they pull your license because of it, because you didn't show up for court, you're not taking care of your tickets, you lose your license. And you're driving around town and you have no clue you have no license. You get pulled over. Guess what? They're taking you to jail for no license. And like I said, I know a lot of states are different, but every time I got pulled over with no license, I went to jail. So there are a lot of states that still do that. And I'm sure they do it more now because there are more people without a license and it's so hard to get it back. It's not just paying money. It's going to the court dates, paying the court costs, paying the fines, they just want so many different documents. It's not like okay, I'll give you this money and we're good. It's just so much more than that. So yes, there's a lot of traffic tickets that can send you to jail. The worst now is there are some states where the police do not need a warrant. All they need is probable cause, which could be anything. It could be them thinking something. It could be someone else calling and saying something. And they can go into your house and arrest you. There are ways where someone could call and as a witness say you did something that you never did, but they can take you to jail and you have to prove your innocence. And then what happens is if you cannot afford it, you cannot prove your innocence. Meaning, yes, you get a free public defender, but they don't listen to you. They work for the state. They want you to plead guilty and move on with your life. If you are innocent and you want to prove your innocence, what you're going to have to do is hire an attorney, like an experienced attorney that you know is going to work for you and not the state. It's going to be expensive, and then hope that they can prove your innocence. If you can't afford an attorney, you're stuck with the public defender, and what they do is they'll say, here, this is what we're going to offer you if you plead guilty today. And it'll be like, let's say 2 years probation, example. And if you say, no, but I'm innocent, I'm not pleading guilty on something that I didn't do, the public defender is going to say, well, if you take this to trial, what's going to happen is if you can't prove your innocence, they're going to hit you with the max. So your probation could go to 5 years in prison because that's what they do. let's say you're in the passenger side of the car and you're riding with somebody and they get pulled over and the police ask you for your license, ID, whatever you have to give it to them. I don't know why it's like this. You shouldn't have to, but if you don't, they can hit you with charges. You're not listening to them. You're whatever the charges are. I don't have them all memorized myself. I just know that if you don't do what they say, they can get you out of the car. They can take you in because you're not proving your identity. You're not doing what they say pretty much. And they have authority over you, so they can really do whatever they want. And if they really want to, they can say you did something you didn't do, like you hit them or fought with them or took off running or whatever. I'll tell you, I got a charge fleeing the scene. I was driving, it was raining, and I hit a telephone pole. So I got out of my car and walked to the nearest house to see if somebody was there to try to get help. And they got me for fleeing the scene because when the cops came, I was at the house, not by the wrecked car. I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit in the side of the road or middle of the road with a wrecked car. I went to safety to wait for y'all to get here. If I was fleeing the scene, I would be gone. But they still charged me with it because I wasn't with the car. So they can do whatever they want, you guys. They can charge for so many different things. That's why I always say educate yourself. People don't think this, but homelessness, yes. Certain states, cities, counties, you can go to jail for being homeless, meaning not just sleeping where you're not supposed to, not just trespassing, but literally being homeless in the streets. You can get in trouble now for helping the homeless, whether it's walking with bags of food or handing money or whatever it is, you can go to jail for that. You can go to jail for addiction. So let's say people say, oh, you have to break the law for them to know that you're an addict. No, not always. You could literally just be walking down the road. Let's say you are homeless, okay? They don't know you're homeless, but you're just walking down the road, going to the gas station, and a cop comes up to you and says, I need to see your ID. And you say, well, I don't have my ID. Or, no, I didn't do anything illegal. They can harass you till you give them your ID. And if you don't have warrants and whatever, they can search you, especially if you have a record, but they can search you. They can say that you were acting high or whatever they want to say. They can search you, and if it's on you, guess what? You're catching a felony. So you don't always have to break the law. They just have to accuse you of breaking the law. I am not excusing things that I've done or things that anyone's done to break the law. I'm just saying there are so many ways that people can go to jail, and nobody is safe. Nobody gets a free pass. You are not above the law. It can happen to anybody at any time. And if it hasn't happened to you, you better be praying and be grateful it's never happened to you, or it hasn't happened yet. Same thing with addiction, mental health. If you become disabled, you might have to take pain medication, or it might mess with you mentally because you're going to struggle. You're going to stress. How are you going to work? There's just going to be so many things, and it's out of your control. And being disabled, that can happen at any time. Any accident, anything can happen, you guys. Anything can happen to anyone. I think too many people are living in denial. They think that they'll never be an addict. They'll never struggle with mental health. They'll never be poor. They'll, never go to jail. I would never. But not realizing that you don't have control over that. If it's meant to happen to you, it's going to happen to you. So I'm just trying to share this with you guys that it can happen. Anything can happen to anybody. There are so many other crazy ways to end up in jail. If you have any questions, if you guys want to add to this video, please add some in the comments, because there are so many ways and so many different stories. The average person would be shocked at why and how people end up in jail. It's not always what you think it is. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening to me rant, and I hope you learned something today. See you guys.